We all get sick. Some illnesses are minor, such as cold or flu. Some are much more serious, such as cancer or heart attack. We always tend to think that we'll never get seriously sick, but here are only two examples that get us thinking. In Canada, roughly 1 out of every 2 men and 1 out of every 3 women will develop cancer during their lifetimes. And out of 100 people who have a heart attack or stroke, about 75 will carry some sort of disability for the rest of their lives. Now, we might be thinking, wow, this is very depressing. But hang on, this is not too depressing. Remember, even if we are diagnosed with a serious illness, it's not the end of the world. We might have a long life ahead of us. What is really depressing is being unable to get back to our normal lives after we get sick. So here's the question. This is our problems and all the stress we have when we get sick. The problems feel as heavy as the world on our shoulders. Now, do we want to be like this or this? The answer is ridiculously obvious, but how? How can we be like this if we get sick? Here is how. Max was only 35 years old when he got diagnosed with a serious illness. The day his family doctor gave him the devastating news, everything in his life faded away. He forgot about everything. He just wanted to get better. Now, to get better, Max had to improve in 2 things: his physical health and his emotional health. Fortunately, Max had enough money in his bank account. So instead of waiting in pain for 4 months, he quickly traveled to the US to perform the initial assessments. That cost him a total of $4,000. He then forwarded the test results to his doctor and he was given 2 options. Treatment number 1 with a medium success rate, which was painful and had some potentially severe side effects. Treatment number 1 was covered by OHIP. Treatment number 2, that was an experimental procedure and it had a very high success rate with little side effects and pain. However, it wasn't covered by OHIP and its cost was $65,000. Max had money, so he chose treatment number 2. He also didn't get stressed about taking 8 months off from work for his treatment and recovery, while still being able to pay for the mortgage, pay the bills, and other day-to-day expenses while he wasn't at work. When the recovery period ended, Max took his family to a nice vacation spot to have fun, plan for the future, and focus on his emotional recovery. He spent $3,000 for the vacation. When he came back, he also decided to pay down a part of his mortgage to reduce the financial pressure. Now, if we add up all the costs during those 8 dark months, we realize that Max spent $200,000 in total to get back onto normal life. Happy ending, wasn't it? Almost like too good to be true. Well, keep watching. Now let's see, what if Max did not have enough money? He had to wait in pain for 4 months only to do his initial assessment tests. He then had to bite the bullet and choose treatment number 1. He also could have lost his house since he couldn't go to work. To avoid that, he would have been forced to cash out his savings and go to work during his treatment because he needed money to pay the bills. He couldn't perform in full capacity, so he had to suffer even more. And eventually the whole family would have ended up with inevitable arguments, poorer, and more exhausted due to stress. Now let's see why Max had so much cash sitting in his bank account. Did he rob a bank, or was he a millionaire? Neither one. The only reason why Max had enough money was that 2 years ago he had purchased a plan called Critical Illness Protection, and this plan today gave him $200,000 lump sum and tax-free to spend it any way he wanted when he was diagnosed with the illness, no strings attached. And you know what the best part of the deal was? If Max had remained healthy and wanted to cancel the plan, he could have got back all the money that he paid for it, guaranteed. Remember, getting sick is not cheap, but these plans are in fact cheap and they start from only $10 a month, depending on the age, gender, and amount of coverage. Max now says one thing: money equals options equals life. Now that you've been lucky to become aware of a plan that many don't know about it, take action before it's too late.